That was all. Yo, yo.
Yes, sir.
That was insane. I don't think anybody was ready for that. So that's round 1 and 2 by?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest, I like it. I like it. I like the I'm gonna it's I can see where some people are annoyed because it's probably gonna up the amount of people that join, but I actually really like that. It gives them more incentive to play, the people who actually rather than the people who sign up and drop. Well, yeah, that's where half that battle is. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
That end up costing them, yeah.
Yeah. And there are
Or
those
oh,
people
I just
who
or the fucking
What?
opponent win percentage bullshit. Like how we've
Yeah.
seen you twice now not win locals, right? Because of the opponent win percentage bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, it's happened to me, and it's also happened like store championships, especially because I was like, man, if the store championship at our local was actually for an invite, I would have definitely said, "Yo, sit down, we're playing this last round out for this invite." But now, yeah, obviously they had to compensate for them not being invites, so they're like, okay, there's a lot less of a sample size for it, and now it's just going to be a lot of people. I'm pretty sure they trickled down on invites in at nat or regionals now, but it's still pretty. I think it would be a lot smaller for the players that do plan on going, but now anybody can attend. So people who are just fans of Digimon and want to compete, or those players that would just always like scratch the surface but would not nail that the invite. Now you have a chance to just go. You're gonna have to work a little harder
Well, I mean,
to
now
make
you
it
can
to day
scratch that
two.
itch,
Yeah,
but it's one of
but
those where
you'll be
like
playing at where hopefully the best players are going to be at,
nah, what do
and
you
it's
mean?
not
It's
going to be
gonna be
online.
my first ever event. First ever event, right?
Oh, true. Hey, man, you could win an event. It could be your first. Digimon is.
Yeah, we can hear you. What's up? Is Twitch? Huh. Let me check.
Can they hear me?
I think we can hear everybody.
I can't hear you on this. I can't. I can't hear Alex now.
Nigel just said he can hear us both. He can hear me
I
and
can hear
Alex.
you both. Nigel, there's three of us, right? There's three. All right.
Can't hear the third person. I am here.
How do you know it's me, sheep? How do you know it's me? I am Get.
Can you hear me now? Can we hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
all
We should.
right. So,
Do we start all the way over?
You're aggressive.
starting over is not something that I'm here to do, but you know, it's all right. It's all good.
We're only 6 minutes in. It's okay. We can
Exactly.
redo it.
It's all good. Welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. Sorry for the little misfunction there. As you guys know, we're talking about the Nats announcement and how everybody can register for Nats, but if you've earned your invite, you get the 2-round buys. I feel like
I still
it's.
think that's so solid. I think that's such a solid way of dealing with the influx of people that are going to play.
I feel like it's a positive thing. Um, it's honestly not that different than what Pokemon does. Pokemon does something very similar. Their worlds they have worlds, and then once you're over a certain point threshold from participating in events, you can sign up for worlds. But if you're in like the top percentage of players, you get a automatic day 2. So when I saw that, I got Pokemon vibes and was like, "Oh, that's super cool." It kind of makes it more inclusive, so people that either can't participate in online events and
Hi, me.
you can participate, you just opt not to because it's a bad time. It's a bad time, not gonna lie.
Well, I mean, it's also I physically have to take off work
Yeah.
to be able to do any of the online stuff usually.
And then sitting in your chair for 8 to 12 hours, only getting up for like a snack break, water break, it's not the most enjoyable thing. At
Yeah,
least
especially
in
2 rounds
person.
versus that con.
Yeah, like if you're in person, you know, in between rounds you get up, you chat, you socialize with people. That's kind of the experience. But
Yeah, but when that's taken
sitting at your
away.
desk for 10 plus hours, it gets exhausting. I don't know about y'all. I did my first
Definitely.
online. I did online Ultimate Cup, and I felt miserable afterwards. I was just like, I never want to do this again.
Oh, I know, Alex. My X5 for regionals was so fun.
I mean,
Hey.
I'm probably gonna do it again because the pricing for October is fire.
Bro, I need to fucking get that
Yeah.
locked
Fire.
in
That's
some
probably the
shit. I
best
need all of
regional
that pack.
prizing I've seen
That's the best. It's the best regional pricing we've
since
seen.
Digimon's
So, all right, let's
conception.
talk about the pricing. Let's switch over to pricing. It seems like they've been kind of hearing us out. Like, I get these are kind of the top ends of what we've been getting anyway.
No, I don't think they're hearing us out. I think the timing is really convenient. I feel like this is already something that they had planned, and you know, it looks like they're hearing us out because everybody's complaining, and there's like, oh, well, look at this pricing. It's for October.
Well, I just mean from the RB1 nonsense to where we literally bullied them into actually printing reprints. um, and then we actually get the whole line of sixes. Obviously the sixes was planned since last year, whenever they started doing
Yeah.
the
So
regionals with the
I think
lines.
with RB1, they were definitely bullied into putting the reprints in there. It's something that
It didn't make sense.
it didn't make sense,
Make
but
sense.
once people started speaking up about it, they realized, oh, with all these people protesting and speaking up about this, that means there's going to be all these people not buying it. Let's put the reprints in so we can make our money. That's what really happened.
Well, yeah, I know that.
But with regionals, they don't really have to listen to us, as you could see with
Mhm.
Ultimate Cup, and they're still doing monocolor Ultimate Cups, despite how many voices are saying, we don't want this, we don't want this.
We just want to play regular
We just
Digimon.
want to play regular Digimon.
It's really
I mean,
funny.
that's why I haven't done an Ultimate Cup, to be honest. Is I
Mhm.
don't have good luck, and then now you're expecting me to have luck in a format that doesn't actually exist.
It's really funny though because remember when they were like revealing all those formats that I'm pretty sure they didn't listen to anybody who actually voted. I don't think anybody wanted monocolor really. They just wanted to play regular Digimon, but those other formats did seem fun, just not on a regional level.
Yeah,
Not on a regional.
not
That should
for
not be where
for
we're
10
learning
rounds.
new games.
Or like one of those exhibitions that they were doing. Like remember those little exhibitions? I think East used to host those.
Yeah.
Those were cool.
Well, and
I
I mean,
don't
you just
know.
can't have it be on something that big of a scale. Like, you can't. That's where I got annoyed when they're like, "Oh,
8 to
we're
10
going to change
hours,
this."
and you're playing for prize cards that people actually kind of want.
They actually
kind
want.
of want. Oh
Hey,
no,
man,
no,
I got the
Ultimate
War
Cup.
Ground one.
Never mind. Ultimate Cup is the ones that people want. Yeah.
Yeah, Ulti
I
is
got
the
the
ones
War
people
Ground
actually.
on. Oof. How much they going for?
Enough.
Yeah, enough.
But
They don't exist, right?
Just
Me and James.
not the best format to be putting such prize cards on. So I don't think they're really listening because they don't really lose out if people don't participate. You know, they're gonna get some participants, but they're not losing any money on it because the money is going to the tournament organizer anyway. It's not going directly to Bandai. However, the reprint booster they would definitely lose money on because if there was no reprints in there, they couldn't sell.
It's just
the product.
me. It's literally just me buying it. There wouldn't be any other.
Just Joe and all his legion of Gamamon fans. I'm happy that we got the reprints. I'm happy that.
I mean, I need this regional prizing. I don't even want to play in regionals, and I need this.
Well, you get it's the participation prizing, so.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
I'm about to just throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah, buddy.
Tell my opponent for 3 rounds that hey, you got it. Hey, you got it. Hey, you got it, and then enjoy the rest of my day.
I'm probably gonna play it out.
Nah,
Still wanna.
If I do sign up for a
game.
regional, I would definitely play it out.
Still want a game, but I definitely don't want to be stuck in my chair for hours. I just hate when I just don't get a chance to like really stand up, go down, and get some water and something like that because my round probably took too long or something like that because I happened to run into one of the like 3 setcom players in there and I'm just like, my soul. But you know, it's playing for the prizing is nice, even though it's like, okay, maybe I made top 32, top 16. I get better stamps saying, "Oh, I'm a finalist!" Woo! But it'll still be.
Yeah,
it's still.
I don't even care about the invite. I just want.
I don't.
The
I just
cards.
need
Yeah.
that. I need.
I just want to beat people
I
up.
need that War Greymon looking all fucking awesome. Oh. Yeah. I need a Sirius with a stamp.
That's true. Serious Mon did get the stamp. You gotta get 5, Joe.
I need 12.
12? Okay. I don't even think there's enough regionals in October for that.
I need 12, Alex. I got 3 different decks I'm trying to build.
Alright. Well, no, that means you need 13 because you gotta have one for the
Losing
binder.
pieces.
We don't talk about the binder on the podcast. We don't talk about the fact that I have 5 ties and 5 raid grays. We don't talk about that.
Yes, we do.
I feel like that's a topic for another episode. Players versus collectors.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't stand them collectors. Not kidding. Not really. But yeah,
Here, you want to have this
regionals.
discussion? All right, hey, here, you want to talk about collectors? Guess who only collected until he got yelled at because his deck wasn't alted? And now I get yelled at for alting it.
I don't yell at you. I encourage it.
Yeah, I know. You're part of
Those
the
cards
reason
need to see
Wargrey
play.
got expensive because you were like,
Exactly.
you could just stop buying all these collection crap and you could just be alting your deck. And I was
You
like, you know
could
what,
just have
Jared,
a
you're right.
blinged out deck. Drop
I
it
could
on,
just do both.
drop it on the table. Win or lose, you,
just
flexed on your opponent.
Oh, Alice, you're not ready for this.
By this
Zard
$50
deck, this
Agumon.
Zard deck is getting closer by the day. It is expensive.
You sit there, you play the mirror match. They play their SR version of Wargrey. You look down. You might have lost, but you look at you playing the poor Wargrey. Couldn't
That's
be
the
me.
poor Wargrey. Couldn't be me. I had to shove Mike outside into traffic and take his shit.
But that's enough about regionals and Nats. I think it's time we transition to our topic for tonight. We were going to talk about tackling the meta, and when you're building your deck, what do you build for? Do you build for a global scale? You build for your matchups? Do you build for what you know you're going to see at locals?
I was going to say local hunting or like, yeah.
Jared here was very passionate about this, so I'm going to let him start it off. And
just ask a question. Okay,
very passionate question.
A very passionate question, yeah. So obviously, a lot of the time, you know, when I feel like when people, especially when they're just deck building, it's like, what are you building for, right? Do you want to build? You probably want to be building for your locals meta because that's who you're going to be facing most of the time. But you know, depends on what event you're going to. Maybe you're traveling out of state, going to someone else's locals,
or playing in an online.
Or you're playing an online event. Or you're going to play You're going to Nat, and you want to, you want to, and you're trying to say, what should I play? And two, how should I build it to deal with certain matchups? How do my matchups play out? And that's where, you know, a lot of, like, I guess deck building variants, like I'm not going to lie, when they give a deck a full set of support. Obviously, we only have 50 cards we can really mess with, and we have ratios we have to make consistent. We're going to probably cut something to throw in searching. We're going to cut something to throw in maybe a removal option. It's like, what's your mindset behind it? Good example, when I was heavily testing Black War Greymon for the BT9 regional at Otakon last year, I honestly just sat on, I'll be like awake at like, I don't know, 5-6 a.m. just testing on TTS and just was like, okay, well, how am I going to beat this deck? I know like all these decks are OTK decks. What do I deal with easily, and what gives me a harder time, and what cards can I run to kind of mitigate my problems? Because I don't know what I'm going to face at Otakon. I know because, you know, obviously there's a bit of an echo chamber with tier lists and all of that. People are going to just kind of listen to whatever people are saying, so they're like, oh, we're projecting Alphamon, Grandis, War Greymon to be like the best OTK decks to play. And then, or nobody, like Metal Garurumon wasn't on people's radar at the time. Black War Greymon wasn't on people's radar at the time. So I was mostly testing to deal with those matchups. And then when obviously metas are going to change, and then I had to kind of structure it to deal with, locals. But I knew we had a few Alphamon players at our locals, so what I kept teched in my deck, when I teched in for regionals, and it just proved to work a lot. I guess a lot of decks. Ultimate Flare, for example. Ultimate Flare is a really good card. Overlooked. But I was like, I'm going to throw this into Black War Greymon because, one, I can use it. Why not? And two, if somebody hits this insecurity, especially if you're running at a regional, you're bound to have it in security if you're just playing the full set of games, and somebody's going to run into it eventually, and it's going to throw them off so hard and probably put the game in your favor. So you want to think about running cards like that. That's what I was. That was my mindset behind that, and that's where I really came on this topic because especially as a legacy player, I know that some older decks could probably make a comeback if you're paying attention to how Japanese meta kind of develops. Some people are going to believe in certain decks that probably posed successful, that probably aren't as successful in English meta because 1, 2 out of 3, and 2, people probably found a way to like jump past those decks, and they kind of was like, okay, this is kind of scrubby, but I can beat it. So that was like the main passion behind this topic. And then if we go look at BT13, I can say I wanted to pick up Black or Greymon. I know how this deck operates from like the back of my hand. How can I structure it to deal with a certain meta, or should I rely on maybe older knowledge that I had to deal with certain decks? That's a topic that people should be thinking about, especially if they're going to start planning to go to Nats now that anybody can go.
Yeah, this is actually a perfect time to talk about this because with the whole Nats announcement, I feel like building your deck varies when you're building to either play against locals or you're building to play against a wider scale. And so the core of your deck will stay the same, but your tech choices will be pretty different.
Your tech choices. So the regional I went X5, I literally should have just teched my one BT1 Wargrey, and I didn't, and that's what made me lose the SetCon matchup. Couldn't get through it at all because I just watched it, and I'm sitting there going, the one time I haven't played BT1 Wargrey since the beginning of the game.
Joe here has been playing Wargrey since the beginning of the game. Most faithful Wargrey player I know.
Favorite card in the game is BT1 Wargrey. The one time I take it out of my deck
on a local
is the
level,
meta. I need to see it.
We don't really have too many SecCon players, so when you're running the BT1 Wargrey, you kind of wish that you were playing the Raid Wargrey.
You run out of gas, You run out of gas.
Exactly. But on a wider scope, when you're playing in an event with more players, you're subject to run into different decks, a wider variety of decks, and so you have to plan for you have to plan accordingly.
FYI, if you play in a regionals, expect to run into SetCon. That's just also another
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a give. SetCon, the little angel loop,
and then round 2 SetCon. I'm going for
You're gonna expect to run into a deck that has yellow and purple and probably plays Chaos Degrade in it.
SetCon is like Digimon's Chain Burn from Yu-Gi-Oh! There's always that one person.
Yeah, someone's gonna be
at a large scale event that will play it. No matter how good or how bad it is, there's always that one person that's like, oh, I really like this deck, and brings it along, no matter how much hate they get.
And the worst part is it never really goes away because, there's always going to be, if yellow gets good generic support, then that has something to do with recovery.
Bro, we just watched all that vaccine.
Yeah.
The security control nonsense is never going anywhere. And Kataris is going to only get better over time. That new Kataris is good.
Yeah, they're just going to... I mean, SecCon's never going to go away, but they're also making it so that they're making a lot of decks that can kind of mitigate
well, they also, I feel like they've also kind of moved away from like the general SecCon concept, and it's kind of going into more of a let me manipulate security rather than SecCon. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the original SecCon was literally throw down Magna Iron Digimon, I already know there's 5 things in my security that's going to screw you up because there isn't anything else in my deck.
Mm-hmm.
Now it seems like a lot of it is actually forcing them to deck build rather than just sit there, pass, throw down a recovery, pass, kill option, pass, Magnangemon, pass.
I miss when Setcon was like, I hard play a mega pass.
Bruh.
And I used to do that at BC5 before like Yellow
I
got
know.
stupid. I was like, all right.
remember the villainous days of BlackAceX Discuss.
Yeah, dude, I was playing because I was like, "Yo, I got Zord defeat. This card is sick." And then I had
defeat, defeat in the original back with defeat was what, a $70 card probably.
Yeah, man, I played the original Blackboard Greymon in that deck too, where he was like, "Oh yeah, hard play me. I'm an 8 cost if they have like a level 6 or something like that, and then you can just attack unsuspended is the highest DP unsuspended or something like that."
Oh, the promo.
No. This is set like 1.5 or 1.
When
Yeah,
did the promo Blackboard Grey come out?
The promo Blackboard Grey came out around BT4.
Okay.
That card was funny too.
But,
that card still is funny.
My experience with I actually had the same problem as Joe. I was testing Melga during BT9, and it was on nobody's radar. Very few people knew how to play it because everybody was swearing by the Japanese results. And
you can't do that for a best of 3.
Testing at locals, and I didn't tech for the. I teched for the Bielstar matchup because I knew that was one of my biggest problems. And on a local level, the only Bielstar player we have is Guardfight King. And so I definitely...
you overcooked yourself, pretty much.
I teched for the Bielstar matchup. It ended up costing me a few games at locals. I'm like, well, I don't really need to tech for Bielstar, right? There's nobody that's going to bring Bielstar to a regional, right? And I sit down across from my round 1 opponent. He flips over the Demi Miramon, Digivolves into the Gabumon, and I'm like, well, that's wild.
Yep, that's exactly how it went. When I watched that man throw down his first Magnangemon, I said, "Oh no!" I literally just went, "Oh, I'm not ready for this."
Magnangemon, the timeless beast he is.
But from then on, I realized, when you're building, you have to take into account your worst matchups on a wider scale. You have to build accordingly. Make sure that you tech for those because you never know. Not everybody's fortunate enough to dodge all of their bad matchups and play into their best matchups all day. And I know for a fact that I'm never paired up against my good matchups. I'm always paired up against my worst matchups, especially in round 1.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I hate when I hate because I'm the opposite where I prepare to deal with my worst matchups and I play only good ones. And then I'm like, man, this just doesn't feel
or fulfilling. A mirror.
Yeah, or a mirror match. Oh my god, I hate doing mirror matches. Oh man, I do not like doing
Cup. The Ultimate Cup that I played in, I was playing All Force, and I'm like, well, there's very few decks that All Force has a bad matchup against, but one of the worst matchups is Yellow Hybrid because they just recover so much.
Yep.
And Venusmon absolutely dunks on All Force. And what did I play against round 1? I played against Yellow Hybrid. And it wasn't just any Yellow Hybrid. It was Jared's Yellow Hybrid. Out of 500 players, I get paired against...
I play my teammate.
You get paired against Jared. And I'm like, There's no way.
Yeah, that was the first Ultimate Cup this year, right? That we did.
Was it the first one? I think so.
I remember because I made top 32 in the first one.
Yeah, I think it was the
second.
first one.
The second, no, because the second one was PPG, and that one we were like, kind of sucks. I think it might have been the PPG one we did. I don't think I faced you in the first one.
I don't.
No,
because
you
you
didn't play in the first. You played the PPG one.
This was the March one. Was it March?
Yeah, this was both of them were in March, but the PPG one was like the weekend after.
Yeah.
And that was the one you chose to play in because you're like the first one. I'm doing something else, so and I'm doing both. So yeah, I remember that.
I can't commit to sitting 2 weekends in a row for 10 hours at my desk. I can't.
And not get paid for it. I understand.
I mean, I don't think pay has anything to do with it, but yeah.
Oh, I'm just saying because I would be at work. So
yeah, I would do some things for $1. That's not for
What?
nothing.
What?
Let's not take that out of context, as you know I will.
It's all right. It's gonna get clipped and turned into a YouTube short.
For sure. It is.
More excited than any of us.
It is.
Yeah, I know.
It is. But I feel like things like floodgates, the different types of floodgates,
Things like Congo,
options. But I think like floodgates is probably the biggest thing because that's one of the bigger.
I feel like they're half a trap.
They feel like a trap because
they feel like.
On one hand, that's a slot that you could use for a different level 3. Some decks like purple don't have many level 3s to pick from, so they just play floodgates as their level 3s. But for something like, say, Mirage Galgamon, taking up space for floodgates could eat into a level 3 slot that you could dedicate to something else.
Even Gamamon coming out, same concept. I need them to all be Gamma.
On a local level, you might not need that floodgate because you're playing against decks where your floodgate doesn't matter. Like, say your locals is full of Beelzemon players and your floodgate just gets popped every turn.
What was that? That was this past week, right? We saw Cardfight throw down the...
That was last week's tournament.
Oh my gosh! So they literally just fireball. That was the quickest I've seen a fireball ever come out of.
So it's like, okay, at locals I don't need this, but if I'm planning to go to a regional or Nats, I should heavily consider putting at least 1 to 2 in. Yeah. Take away from that one spot. As much as it's very nice to have, it's a luxury when I'm expecting to see more top tier decks that actually do need the floodgate.
That one time you do need to stop Royal Knights and it works.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yep, I agree. I will say it's kind of weird because some, like I said before, some decks just get like a full set of support, like how Shine got 3 sets of support straight up, and like from BC12, EX4, BC13, he has a new full line, all that works with the new playstyle of the deck, and then because it works so well. There's also not a lot of space you want to commit to maybe running other things, but especially floodgates, right? Because I'm like, it's for some decks, floodgates
Jared, are
actually.
You afraid of the others? Is that what you're telling me?
I am afraid of the others. No, I'm not afraid of any other. Come on now. But it turns into like, I don't really need this because this is going to really hurt my game plan. If I just end up drawing it, I'm not going to have the access to the inheritables. That's the one thing that floodgates just completely lack, is having an inheritable in case you don't want to use it. Only color that technically utilizes floodgates to their full potential is purple, because they can always recycle it. Yeah, purple. I mean, technically green can too.
because they have, like Alex was saying, they don't have many other level 3s they run. So
Yeah.
that's why their floodgates are so optional.
Yeah. Green can. Technically, yellow
Green
can
can't
too.
even really anymore. Green's little. They have a few floodgates, but
Well,
I
they
feel
can
like
play
all their stuff.
Terriermon.
Terriermon
Okay, so
just play
kinda cuts
Pomu?
into Bloomlord because if you've got a
It's not-
Terriermon in hand and you're trying to play out one of your Digimon that's 3K. Terriermon's a 3K, but he ain't a plant or a fairy, so.
Yeah, they start getting so plant heavy.
Pomumon does actually play into their
Pomu's
strategy.
their
So.
like new thing, yeah, because they
he
also
can,
play
because
that
he can
other
spit it out.
Pomu. That new Pomu where they can suspend anything is also good.
Well, that's
Basically,
not
they ignite.
what I consider a floodgate. I consider the floodgate
No,
the
I was
one
just
that
saying that's their level 3s now, though, right? Pomu's a 3, so I mean it's between
Usually
that,
like a
their
2-2 split
floodgate.
on those two Pomus, yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean between that and
Lalamon and
floodgate.
Palmon are kind of important to the deck too, as they're consistency pieces. So you
Oh
don't
yeah,
want to cut
green
too
is
heavily into
consistent.
those. But that Pomumon's really nice for matchups like Royal Knights. That way you can prevent them from popping off. But the thing about that is that it's a global floodgate. It doesn't just stop your opponent from playing things; it stops you
hurts
from
you.
playing things too. So you have to take that into account when you play it. That you're either ending your turn, going into your opponent's turn with that.
That's
and
why
you
I never
can
want to see a
Digivolve
Venus.
over top of it.
Never show me a Venus. Every deck I play will just Venus will eat me. She just wraps her legs around me and suffocates me.
Hey yo!
Thank you, Joe, for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That advanced imagery. That advanced imagery, imagination.
All right, so let's think. I mean, so where would you think a lot of people go wrong with that? Like the teching of a deck is you stray too far from the archetype and you over tech, or you under tech.
It's completely possible. Yeah, go ahead.
It's possible to do either or.
Both. Yeah, both
I think
seem like
over-teching is probably a bigger issue than under-teching.
okay.
Why
Why
least
would you think that?
when you under-tech, you definitely still have what your deck is supposed to do. So
Yeah, you're still running.
If you lose to your worst matchups, that's really the only matchups that you're going to lose to. Your deck is still going to do what it's supposed to do. But if you over-tech, then you're clogging up your deck. You're potentially
I feel like
cutting
that's what
away from your
Purple used
gas.
to do, is they would kind of over tech.
That's what a lot of blue decks do.
I mean, I can see that. You also have a lot of effects on
blue
blues,
decks
so.
cut out level 3s to run Madoki Betamon, and I'm guilty of that myself. When I'm like, all right, I could use this level 3, but I feel like I need Madoki Beta, or I need what is it, Shakomon, little clamshell.
I feel like also blue just has also so many hybrids.
Yeah, it's not Shakomon, but I know Siakomon.
Yeah.
The little clam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of putting those in when I could be putting in a level 3 that actually...
Is the clam reduced? It's reduced Evo? What is the
that's
clam?
the one that reduces Evo.
Yeah.
So I would get too much into my head, like, oh, I'm going to run into this, and I absolutely lose to this. So I'm going to run Siakomons, and then I throw the Siakomons in, and I play the entire day without running into the matchup I tech the Siakomons for. So I feel like if you're ever in the situation where you're like, do I tech for this? Do I tech for this? If you're not confident in it, I wouldn't. I'm a big advocate for going with your
consistency is key.
I mean, consistency is key, but comfort pick is one of the things that I didn't respect as much until this year.
Oh, just be okay. I got you now. Just whatever you're used to, kind of thing.
repetition will always trump the top tier. So anybody can pick up a tier 1 deck and go into a regional, and they're not likely to do as well as they would have if they played a deck that
just played something they knew.
Yeah, that they're familiar with playing. And so in past
especially
years,
if you're going to be playing that long, it's got to be something you kind of know. Like, and it doesn't. You don't have to think. It's not necessarily
years,
thinking.
I would always walk into, when I'm prepping for a large event, I would always go, okay, of the decks I have, what is the best one? And that wasn't always the deck that I played the most often. I was just going off of what was higher placed on the tiered list. Well, I entered, it wasn't in Digimon, but this was in the digital version of Shadowverse. I entered into a tournament, and I took what was projected to be a tier 1 deck, and I absolutely got dumpstered. I got completely washed. I won 1 game out of 5, and I was
all right.
like,
That Joe shit. You're on your Joe shit. All right.
I'm like, man, that's wild. But I go back for a run back.
Now, was it RNG or just
it? I wasn't familiar with the deck enough. Like I played.
So it was just
deck.
the familiarity concept.
I played the deck, but there's certain interactions that
misplays here or there,
small misplays, sequencing errors. I didn't know the matchups as well, but I was like, oh, but this is the tier 1 deck. This is what I should be playing. Well, I go back for the run back, and I take a tier 3 deck, and I go undefeated.
Yep.
And I'm like,
because it's your back of your hand.
Yeah, it's what I've been playing. I knew the matchups. I knew what to do. I'm like, okay, I'm in this situation. I can take this avenue. This is one of my bad matchups, but I've played this a lot, so I know what I'm doing. And so, it's always better to do what you know rather than do what is projected to be what's best. Because what's projected to be the best is technically subjective. Meta is always shifting. It's more of a popularity chart than anything else. Because if you look at regionals, Shine Greymon is the most represented deck in the current format. So if more people are playing Shine Greymon, you're going to see more Shine Greymons in the top tables because that's what the most people are playing. So meta should always be taken with a grain of salt. Like, it's something you should be aware of because it's what you're going to see most often, but you also have to remember that it's just because you see it
meta
more often doesn't mean that it's necessarily the quote-unquote best.
Okay. I know what you mean.
It's a very gray area. It's something you have to take into account, but it's not something that you have to live by like the scriptures or something.
Yeah. On the topic of comfort picks, I feel like that can also be a subjective thing, just because there are some people who will pick up a deck because it's maybe that easy. Obviously because it's one of the best decks, right? But also because it could be that easy. Like I don't know how many. Yeah, what? Hybrid. Where it's just like you can pick up the deck and play and do well with it, but you could be misplaying left and right just because the deck has a large area of forgiveness and its offensive strategy is just way too overwhelming. Like, I won't even lie, Shine Greymon does that. It's like, okay, well,
for you. You can kind of
smack. And I'm not gonna lie, there are there is a good deal of skill that can come into playing it, especially at a higher level. But on a very basic level, once you get an understanding of the deck, you're just like, I can just steamroll anything. I can run my Marcus at security, and then boom, my shine comes in, brings out another Marcus, burn security, swing, deal another damage, swing per game. It's so fast and all of that. You kind of shut your brain off. But honestly, yeah. What you gonna call it? What other deck was like?
Huh?
What other deck is like kind of brain dead?
Beelzemon.
Beelzemon can be. I'll say this: Beelzemon, especially with the Fort Hitmon.
Okay, Beelzemon before it got hit was actually brain dead. It was actually one of the most brain dead decks I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was really annoying because of how forgiving it was. Yes. Especially because it's like,
the speed. It was the speed.
It was just outsped everything. I agree. Yeah, and it's like you had to play a deck that had some type of blocker in it.
Not even that. A blocker doesn't save you. You had to have protection. The reason they would get mad is they would waste 4 fly bullet or 4. What's the 4 cost? Sorry, Death Slinger.
Mm-hmm.
I'd watch people be wasting Death Slingers just to get rid of Greymon protection. Like, because that's the only way I can stay alive.
They pass the term. They're like, I'm gonna give you 3 anyways, so I'm gonna just Death Slinger. Or I'm gonna choke you at 1 Death Slinger because the deck has the deck just had way too much memory manipulation, and I'm like, I'm facing people who I sit across, and I'm sitting across them, or I'm staring at their setup on the camera and all of that. I'm like, dude, I'm watching you, and I don't feel impressed by your gameplay. I'm not, but you know, the fact
that they're doing anything.
Wow,
the deck does everything.
That's I'm not impressed by your gameplay.
It's just true, bro. I have to hit him with it because, like, you said, you know the feeling. You're sitting here like you're watching them constantly touch themselves and play the game, but it's with like Beelzemon and like Shine Greymon and all that, and it's like, man, you must think you're so nice, and you just steamroll me. I'm like, yeah, GG. I can't. There's nothing I can do. There's no counterplay to it. I just watched you go from like 1 memory up to 3, down to 2. To 4
up to
because
5.
he just up to 5, and then it's like, okay, well, and then blow up my security and play out 2 Hitmons and
trash the security, swing, unsuspend, swing. What? Okay.
Yeah, and you know, you don't really have an answer to the end board because it's like, okay, well, they got rid of my 1 stack, and say I'm a single stack
and
deck, so I have nothing to respond with.
Beelzemon has the Balmon, so it's going to come back as a Beelzemon, just in case.
Oh God, yeah, don't remind me. Oh man, that's probably the part that tilted me the most. I'm like, something in this deck had to get hit. I'm glad it was the Entmon because honestly, that was the deck speed. It was either Entmon or Deathslinger had to go. I'm fine with Deathslinger not going.
Yeah, they're lucky they have Deathslinger still.
Yeah, because it's fine. The deck just has. It's still a really cracked card to me, and I think it's eventually going to go.
I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was. I mean, okay. So here's the thing, right? Deathslinger was fine. A lot of these cards were fine until they updated the playstyle, and then they're like, let's break this a little bit, you know. So, and those are cards that definitely age well. Beelzemon was autopilot, indeed. Yeah. So, and those are just examples because there's decks in the past that kind of had the same general idea where you can just kind of shut your brain off, go burr, and enjoy the ride, you know. And then that's where you're like, you know, I got that whole you're not impressing me because it's like I know what this deck does, but it's especially if it's like a matchup that you might have practiced against, you may be detected too, but you know, obviously you got to see the text to deal with the stuff, and then it just feels terrible that you know how to beat this deck too, but maybe you didn't draw the right thing, and then you're just like, man.
Or it's turn 3, and I've watched him go through 14 cards. I can't keep up with that.
14 cards and like 3 of my security, and I'm like, well, I'm in the danger zone now, so I gotta actually strap up and hope I can deal with this. But then they bring the Beelzemon back, and it spirals down from there. So you know, it's one of those, like, I guess, subjective things that I kind of hate dealing with, and that's one of the things that I guess angered people about Digimon over time. And they're like, because there's no like actual counterplay, but honestly, you know, a lot
You've
of
got
the
the nuts in
counterplay in
any
this
card
game.
game. You've got the nuts, FYI.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
been.
If
It's
you,
not gonna change. Like you can go hop from whatever you want to hop to. There's gonna be a top tier meta deck that's annoying, and whoever has the nuts can still either beat it. It doesn't matter, bro.
to
Like,
quote my good friend and playtest partner Nickney D, either you got it or you don't.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Honestly.
and sometimes some games you're going to have a way to counteract the nuts, or you can kind of mitigate it up to a certain point.
or
But
security is
you've
stacky and
established,
saves you.
yeah. And like the game, I mean, at this point in the game, a lot of decks are just kind of playing to complete a quest, right? In a sense, like Belphamon's trying to get Belphamon out. Royal Knights are trying to stack up the Royal Knights under the Yggdrasil so they can spit them out and just run through your security.
Mirage Galgamon's trying to make sure that your opponent has 8 or more cards in hand.
Oh, you want to keep
Exactly.
drawing? Let me help you with that.
Yeah, DigiQuest. You know, so it's and you're trying to find a way to stop your opponent's game plan. That's always been the thing in Digimon. You've been always trying to stop the game plan, break their board as much as possible. Yeah, obviously, there's a lot of other decks can kind of deal with that now, but
Digimon is
it's
a statement response game.
Yeah.
You make your statement. It's up to your opponent to respond. Then after your
Yep.
opponent responds, you respond to them. It's been like that since BT1. The biggest statement response deck of the legacy format was Megazoo, where they had the biggest statement, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
all right, I'm gonna play this big mega turn 1. What is your response? Oh, you don't have one. Then I'm coasting. Now
Bro, don't
it's
talk
like,
to me about old
okay,
Megazoo. What's
I'm
that,
going to
Puppetmon?
build up this in the raising area. I'm building up this stack. This stack is going to go for 2 to 3 checks. How are you going to respond to this? It's almost like a game of chess.
Yeah.
You have to know what your opponent's deck does. You have to know what it's supposed to do, because sometimes they don't always do what they're supposed to do. Sometimes it's the not optimal plays that punish you. But,
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes you got to think a little bit outside of the box.
You have to think at least one turn ahead. And so one of the things that I realized that usually draws people into time is that while their opponent's doing their turn, they kind of just check out and just watch what their opponent does. While, yes, you are supposed to keep your eyes on your opponent, that doesn't mean you should just completely check out and watch what they're doing until they're done.
Yeah,
You
start
should be
processing moves in your head.
You should know what cards are in your hand, and you should be planning your turn based on what.
And do what I fail to do every time: read their damn effects.
Yep. And you have to. And
Just
the other
take
thing is
that
like
time to read their effects. I'm gonna be honest. Just
You
reread
gotta
them, see what
know-
you need to do.
Yeah, and especially if you know the matchup, you should be planning from turn 1, or from the time they flip their egg over and probably play their tamer or something like that. You should know what you're facing against, and pending that you do know what you're facing against, and then you should be planning from that turn forward how I should be approaching this. Like, say maybe I'm facing. Okay, so against Belphamon, right? My game plan was Shine Greymon. I move out early because they don't really start clearing the board until Belphamon actually comes
Yeah,
out.
you just gotta
But
start just poking them.
you got to start poking them and stacking up. And like if they can bring out the level 5 Gizamon, whatever, they don't give you a lot of memory to work with all that much. But I always pay attention to like how they're starting to pace their turns out. Sometimes they'll have Belphamon. Sometimes they just completely brick and they just never have it. And after I faced my brother, like I don't know, for 2 nights straight of straight up testing Belphamon versus Shine Greymon until I got burnt out of it, I'm like, okay, I know how to fight this deck. And he was probably.
Also, did you all hear what he just said? 2
Uh-huh.
nights of facing the same deck, actual practice against the same deck.
I know, man.
Like-
It's insane. I have a playtest partner I live with. he only plays purple. Like I faced this Bills in my deck was Shine, and I wanted to rip my hair out because I'm like, I can't beat this deck. They always have a card in their security. They always, if I bring Shine out, he's gonna die the next turn because they have 5 ways to remove him. So I'm like, I have to figure out some way to beat it, and I was like trying many different ways, and it was just not that successful. But you you gotta learn how to play around your opponent's strategies. Like play Royal Knights. I don't know. I still have yet to face that deck in a match, by the way. And I think
I played it for the first time. And, I mean,
it does. From what I know, it does a lot of nothing.
You just choke it.
Yeah, it does a lot of nothing, and it falls to floodgates unless they actually have a way to get rid of it. And then you're like, okay, well, maybe
cool
I should
when
approach
it works,
this.
Though.
Yeah,
it's really
it is cool when it
works.
But then you should be thinking, okay, well,
and
this is how I should approach this matchup.
They also can be sitting on really cool effects in their hand, like where they'll just throw down, let's say,
Leopard
either just anything, just what's like even the O Force. I need to bounce this. I need to do this. All their texts are now just Digimon, not options. So it's cool. But Knights was fun, but I was kind of like, oh, cool. I'm glad I didn't choose to play that deck, even though it looks cool.
Royal Knights is not a pocket deck. You want to know what the pocket deck that most people have is? Hunters. That's everybody's pocket deck. Everybody's got a pocket Hunters deck.
Can't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I never played that deck.
No,
I've never
your
played
brother
it.
has a pocket Hunters deck.
I do by proxy.
When I went to Store Champs, the castle, I was like, oh no, I left my deck at home, the deck I was gonna play at home. What do I play? Oh well, I have Imperial Dramon.
You see what Ariel said?
I was like, I have Imperial Dramon. I could just play that.
Well, I'm with you, Ariel. Hunters is so ugly. I'm not
playing. I forgot. It's like, oh, you forgot your deck? Oh, you want to borrow a deck? I got Hunters. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I have my Hunters deck. And somebody else was like, oh, so what you playing tonight? Oh, I'm playing Imperial. I forgot the deck at home. I got Hunters if you want to borrow it. I had like 4 people offer me Hunters. I was just like, guys,
don't reach out.
I have Hunters. I don't need you to pass me your Hunters deck.
Yeah, and then you played Imperial that night anyways.
I did play Imperial, and I honestly wish I played
I don't
Hunters.
like the Hunters, but I'm not reading the second sentence. Jesus.
Hunters isn't that ugly. Oh, wow. Sheesh. Just reading the comments. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? Bandai also hates diversity because look, they keep giving us that monocolor format.
Oh, Jesus.
You know, true.
I like my colors separated.
I don't even know what the hell just happened over the past minute.
He can say it. He can say it. It's fine. Bandai's with me. Yeah.
There you go, Bandai. There's your next poster
child.
What
regionals
save the waffles for next Bandai poster child. You got my vote.
Save the waffles
Alex,
for Bandai.
Are you on the 14th?
For what? October regionals?
October 14th?
I have not signed up yet. I will go find
Jared,
out.
Are you in on that one? You're in on that one, right, Jared?
And I'll hop in whichever one.
I haven't signed up for anything either, actually. I think
it's me, Spidey, Zaki, and Dorian's the next one, the week after, I think. Is your brother in any of them?
No. He doesn't. I think he said he's done with online regionals, but he's a little more finicky with everything. So.
Well, all right, I'll pay for his next participation. So he has to play, okay? All right, cool. Because you need them too. You need those shines. Don't even argue.
There's no point to signing up for. You know, we were talking about that earlier. I will say, there is a point if you want to get your invite, go ahead and do that, and you get to actually eat, chill out, and hang out with people for a bit, and you get to sweat at round 3. But if you just go and you want to play, oh man, you better be prepared to starve for your wins. That's what I did.
I need my War Grace.
I play completely hungry and dehydrated, and it motivates me. Don't be me. Please do not be me. Let me see. What I have to do is grind for Nats now. BT13 doesn't matter anymore. You can't grind anything. You don't even know what format Nats is going to be in for us.
Anymore. You are right.
You are right.
RB1 matters. Currently the RB1 waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
Serious month.
I can't wait to see Save the Waffles play. What's the deck's name? Jellymon. Yeah.
It ran out of food? God damn.
That's insane.
You really think he's gonna play Jellymon?
No.
That's a Final Glory. That's a Final Glory deck, definitely.
Final Glory's gonna play all of them.
Zaki will play Jellymon.
Zaki will play Jellymon.
Zaki has it.
Nats will be BT14. Depends on when they say it is. It's what in we get BT14 in November, so I'm gonna guess it's either gonna be
what EX5.
No,
yeah, EX5.
I don't think it'll be EX5. I'm pretty sure it'll be BT14.
No, I'm saying because after BT14 it's EX5, correct?
Yeah, after BT14.
Yeah,
it's EX5.
so yeah, it'll be a BT14. So Warp Gray, go.
Where's Animal Coliseum?
I'ma be warping.
I don't like that it's called Animal Coliseum. I really don't.
I don't either.
It's kind of lame, right?
No, it's not that. It's animals are ruined for me by one of the others in our Discord.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's true. I forgot about.
Actually, EX5 comes out on the 19th of January next year.
It'll be
Nats
out,
is the weekend. Yeah, so it'll be out then. So Nats is the next weekend. It comes out January 19th.
Oh, so it won't be legal.
It won't be legal.
That's right. Yeah, it won't be legal.
They're definitely they're definitely doing the.
They're trying to keep Melga players down.
Hey,
down,
look,
down.
I'm on the Melga Cope train. The minute
I think they're going to be eating pretty fine.
Hey, look, the starter decks are kind of nice though. Even though I'm probably going to play Black or Greymon on the end.
If anybody's down to let me proxy, they sent out those demo decks that are the starter decks with sample written across. I'll slap together Melga.
The ample decks. Them ample decks.
Ample decks. But I'll definitely be coping with Melga till EX5.
No, the starter decks aren't enough. Honestly, the starter decks don't even really matter except for Trident Arm.
It's not. I mean, Greymon doesn't
and
need anything else. Greymon's running just fine. Melga's over here on life support.
Are you? Are you really?
For now.
What life support are you on?
We've got one level 5. We got the one.
I had to watch my deck get a completely other deck, right? And that deck still just is the best deck in the format. I won't even argue. Black War Gray still has the best matchups versus everything, and that deck is retarded.
That's because
still.
Black War Gray is a toolbox rather than War Gray going vroom.
Yeah, Black War Gray has so many solid tools that it got over time. War Gray kind of piggybacks off that support, not gonna lie. And then it just kind of interchanges, because then it's like, okay, well, we got the tie, so now we can, support this. We can use this in Black War Greymon,
The Greymon archetype has a variety of ways to build it, a variety of...
It has too much support.
Yeah,
it's oversaturated.
It's very oversaturated.
Greymon, but I think that's what players would want.
I mean,
it'll never be like tier 1 for that reason.
But we want it because on a more wide scale. We don't want to see, oh, Greymon's got all these toys. What do I got? That's currently what we've got. But
I just
perfectly
need my
fine.
Burbs too.
Like
once I get Gamma and Burbs, yeah, I'm good.
I'm going to be coping with Melga, because
Hoping you're gonna be sitting there just. Alex gonna be on
Not
a
till
motorcycle just
EX5.
chugging.
Not till EX5.
He's gonna be like, "You thought you were stunned before? Let me tell you, it's
EX5, then
full memory.
I'll be in full swing.
Full
But
memory."
until then, I'll be coping. Mirage isn't doing it for me. And let me see. What's my other option?
And Edamon.
Not even Edamon. Numamon is is the other poster child. I've seen more Numamon cards than anything else, honestly.
I cringe every time they release a port for that archetype.
When they drop Numamon X Antibody, I was done. I was like, "There's no way."
Numamon, he's a must.
No, he's not. Let him go.
He is.
He's literally a piece of shit. Let him go.
Look, all right. If they let Numamon go, that means you can just give me more Toyagumon.
I'd be down for more Toyagumons because they'd be black, and I know you don't play black decks.
That's so rude.
Does anybody else have anything that they want to say before we start wrapping this up? Joe, Jared?
I don't know. I'm just.
First off, support your locals, of course, because yeah, we gotta stop having 6-man locals. Oh shoot, Nikki D! Oh shoot,
Nikki D, what's up?
What the fuck? I'm sorry, bro. Damn. That is terrible. I know card trouble too well.
I'm so sorry to hear that, man. I hope everything ends up okay for you, and I hope you get to Pittsburgh safe, for real. And you might as well just come down to Maryland for a little bit and say hi. No, I'm playing.
Yeah, if you can't make it to Pittsburgh,
it is storming.
If you can't make it to Pittsburgh, you could always come down to Maryland.
I mean, yeah, it's because you're trying to make go to Schittsburg. You know, that's probably why your car was like, man, nah. I should just be down there with the Drakes.
Nah, you definitely have to go up to Nikki's locals at some point. That's a bit of
eventually we're just gonna storm in there.
That he tagged us on.
I saw it. I was like, ooh.
I saw it. I made the Drake.
We got to do it at some
point. The entire Drake team, because I said, nah. He singled us out, but he singled me and my brother out, I think, and I was like, nah, we gotta roll up the whole squad. We gotta show them how strong the Maryland players are. I'm like, Nikki, you gotta train your people up, you know.
That's true. Play webcam on the back seat.
Hey, Nikki, if you want, I'll play test with you right now.
That's wild. That's like actually wild. You just hear the rain.
Nah, body, please. I got you, dude. That's my specialty. Smiley face.
It really is.
We'll come up there and bring some competition your way, Nikki, at some point. We'll have to plan it out sometime soon. But for now, let's wrap this podcast up. Joe, any closing statements?
Back to what I said about Venusmon. It's fact. I would let that happen.
Gotcha. Jared, closing remarks besides supporting your locals.
Yeah, I was just going to say, to kind of touch base on the topic of, you know, tackling your meta. Really start, for people who are especially newer or something like that, really start playing or learn, just playing testing with people. Don't mind sitting there asking questions and like trying to say, hey, just play the game more, but also try to find a way to, you know, counter the best strategy instead of sitting there complaining about this deck is busted. Actually learn. Please. Apply yourself. You guys are probably a lot smarter than you give off. So Please do that.
Damn it, Jared. Why we gotta be all positive? This is dumb.
Positive?
Because-
Did you just hear how he said they're smarter than the energy they give? There was nothing positive about that.
But that's him being positive about them. I
That's
just called
not.
him
It kind of
idiot.
balanced it out.
That was the most
I
backhanded
said you're smarter than you think you are. Okay.
That is the
Okay.
most backhanded statement I've heard.
I said
all
you are
night.
smarter than you think you are. Okay. Card game players do not read. Read your cards, please. There you go. That's the actual.
Read.
I could just say I'm not impressed with you guys. Do better. You want me to say that instead?
Shit, you already did. I'm not impressed with your gameplay.
I'm not impressed with your gameplay. That's a new quote, bro.
That's cool. That's a quote of the night.
Where's your brother now to put that in the copy pasta?
I'll put it in. I'll put it myself. I gotta toot my own horn a little bit.
Anyways, for some quick little shout outs, we've got our tournament for the new Gamagumon mat. If you guys haven't seen that, then you guys are lame and need to join our Discord. Check the announcements. It's time for
Twitter.
the new season. The mat's super cool, and the point system's back. We're still giving out prizes. Sheep's already reaping the reward of topping the leaderboard, and he is having a great time designing his mat.
No, he's not.
And
Every time
we want other people to have that same opportunity. So come on out Tuesdays. We've gone weekly instead of bi-weekly. If you can't make it to the tournament, at least come watch the stream. You know, it's always fun. Joe and TJ are always a hoot and a holler, and
one day we will comment.
One day they'll actually have commentary, but you know, it's fun to watch games and listen to them bicker back and forth like a married couple. And
all right, y'all,
we'll be back
again
again on Thursday for next week's podcast. So thanks for coming out. Thanks for listening. And have a good night.
Peace.